Hey, third grade friends. I'm coming to you through technology this month due to our crazy schedule, and I've been sick for a week now, and I'm getting better, but my voice is not what it needs to be. So I want you to listen as I tell you a little bit about our trait for this month, which is commitment. Commitment is making a plan and putting it into practice. So let's think about that. Making a plan and putting into practice. I want you to think of something that you have accomplished that's been very difficult for you. It could be maybe improving your test score. Maybe it's getting through SC Ready testing this year. Maybe it's getting better at a new sport. Maybe it's dealing with something with your family that's tough. We all go through things in life that are difficult, and so it's very important that you say to yourself, I can do this. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick to it. That's what commitment is. It's just saying, this is going to be tough, but I'm going to get it done. And thinking of a strategy to put into place to do that. So sometimes we think of the reasons why we can't do something. Like, for example, today, K through 2 was doing their field day, and a little girl said, I can't do this. And I said, you can do it, you're just not wanting to do it. But if you show commitment, you're going to try it anyway. And so she did, and she was a first grader, and she ended up having the best time at that station. Sometimes we spend more time trying to get out of doing things than just getting them done. And so I want to show you a short video clip about a little boy who got his wish, and he found out that maybe it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and he had to really show commitment to get it done.
Hey kids up there on the other side of the screen, I got a screen right here with a letter on it from Noah in Mississippi. You know, the place that gives us the perfect way to count seconds. And that took you about 2 Mississippis to get that. Anyway, here's what Noah has to say. Dear Zachary, my school had play tryouts for the adventures of Tom Sawyer. I just know I had to be him. I was so excited when the director said I got the part. I was gonna be the best Tom Sawyer since Tom Sawyer, maybe even better. And then I got the script. I had a lot of lines to memorize, like all the lines in the whole play. I'd already said I'd take the part, but there was no way I could do it. I needed a plan B. What if I could go up there and just do funny stuff instead? Or maybe I could just make up the lines. So, Aunt Polly, you want me to paint the fence, huh? I think it'd be more fun if you painted it. And scene. We were only 2 weeks from the performance, and my plan Bs were not working. So finally, I tried to make Jeff take the part instead. And that's plan C if you were keeping track. But it turns out Jeff was really attached to his role as Tom's Aunt Polly. That's when it hit me. I was putting more work into getting out of it than just doing it. So then I got Jeff to help me memorize the lines. And it didn't take long to memorize them. Now I'm all ready to be Tom Sawyer tomorrow night. So check that out, kids. Noah wanted to do something awesome, but he had to stick with his plan to make it happen. And you can make it happen too. You just have to remember this. Commitment is making a plan and putting it into practice.
So turn and talk with your partner about what Noah did. What did he try to do instead of learn his part? Turn and tell your neighbor. That's right. He tried to clown around, make people laugh, thinking that he was doing a good job. Did it work? No, it didn't. So Noah learns that he was putting more effort into getting out of learning his lines than he was putting into learning his lines. Have you ever tried really hard to get out of something, and then you realize, if I had put all the effort into doing it, I would already be finished? I think of that with my teenagers. Sometimes they put more effort in getting out of doing things than putting that effort into, like, cleaning their room. They could have already been done. Does that work out for us? No, it usually doesn't. If we would put that commitment into getting it done, doing a good job, then we wouldn't have the lessons to learn along the way. Think about a time when you tried to do that. Have you ever tried to get out of something instead of just showing commitment and doing it? If you can think of something, turn and tell a different person near you what you tried to get out of, and did it work for you? So as we're coming to the end of the year, we're showing commitment to finish strong, like Miss Alexander likes to tell us. But we are also thinking about next year. I know you guys, Move Up Day is this week, and you guys have been thinking about summer and how next year's going to be, and is the work going to be really hard? Are you going to make new friends? Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be stressful? And it can be scary thinking about going into a new class and mixing things up. So I want you to think about next year, and I want you to set a goal for yourself. And we're going to come back to this in just a minute. And while I'm talking, if you'll get out a pencil and piece of paper, I want you to set a goal for yourself for next year. Something that maybe it could be something you struggled with this year, maybe a lack of commitment, maybe something that you just didn't give your all. Maybe it's something that you did give your all and you want to continue and get better at it. I want you to think of a goal, and I want you to write that goal at the top of your paper. Everybody got your goal for next year? What's your goal for 4th grade? So commitment means to make a plan and put it into practice. So let's say I want to make better grades. 3rd grade is the first year that you make number grades, and it's a learning year. It's a tough year. So let's say that I want to make better grades next year. Or let's say I just want to improve my math grade. So how am I going to do that? Commitment means that you make a plan, because without a plan, you're probably not going to be successful. So I want you to list 2 or 3 things that you could do to meet your goal. It might be, if mine's to improve my math grade, it might be that I learn my math times tables by the end of this summer. Because we know, it's hard to do anything without knowing your times tables. It could be that I do my homework every night, or look over my notes from that day for 5 minutes. It could be that I sit at the front of the room and use a strategy to be an active listener if I have a problem or trouble concentrating. List 2 or 3 things that you could do to meet your goal and show commitment in the next school year. And I'll give you a minute to do that. All right, I hope you got your steps down. What's your plan? Showing commitment is something that you need to start now. Sometimes some of you may show commitment and not even realize it. But some of you might be the type to say, I can't do that, that's too hard. Then you need to get into the mindset of, I'm going to do it. This is my plan. Always have a plan for everything. When you're a grown up, you must make a plan and put in the hard work. And sometimes you have to sacrifice things. Maybe time, or time with your buddies, or time away from TV, or time away from video games. You might have to sacrifice something to put your plan into action and make your goal. But I promise you, if you will set that goal, make a plan, you will not only be successful, but you will become the best person that you can be. The best student that you can be when you put commitment into your schoolwork. The best son or daughter you can be when you put commitment into your family relationship. And even the best friend you can be when you put commitment into being a friend and solving problems when you have them. Commitment goes into everything that we do. And so I want to leave you, I want you to keep this paper. I want you to think about it. And I want to introduce you to a 12-year-old who has done these things on a big scale. And he's been very successful by showing commitment, not giving up, sticking with it, having a plan, and you're going to be just blown away with what this 12-year-old has been able to do.
I've always had a fascination for computers and technology, and I made a few apps for the iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad. I'd like to share a couple with you today. My first app was a unique fortune teller called Earth Fortune that would display different colors of Earth depending on what your fortune was. And my favorite and most successful app is Bustin' Jeeber, which is a Justin Bieber whack-a-mole. I created it because a lot of people at school disliked Justin Bieber a little bit, so I decided to make the app. So I went to work programming it, and I released it just before the holidays in 2010. A lot of people ask me, how did I make these? A lot of times it's because the person who asked the question wants to make an app also. A lot of kids these days like to play games, but now they want to make them. And it's difficult because not many kids know where to go to find out how to make a program. I mean, for soccer, you could go to a soccer team. For violin, you could get lessons for a violin. But what if you want to make an app? And the kids' parents might have done some of these things when they were young, but not many parents have written apps. Where do you go to find out how to make an app? Well, this is how I approached it. This is what I did. First of all, I've been programming in multiple other programming languages to get the basics down, such as Python, C, Java, etc. And then Apple released the iPhone, and with it, the iPhone Software Development Kit. And the Software Development Kit is a suite of tools for creating and programming an iPhone app. This opened up a whole new world of possibilities for me. And after playing with the Software Development Kit a little bit, I made a couple apps. I made some test apps. One of them happened to be Earth Fortune, and I was ready to put Earth Fortune on the App Store. And so I persuaded my parents to pay the $99 fee to be able to put my apps on the App Store. They agreed, and now I have apps on the App Store. I've gotten a lot of interest and encouragement from my family, friends, teachers, and even people at the Apple Store, and that's been a huge help to me. I got a lot of inspiration from Steve Jobs. And I started an app club at school, and a teacher at my school is kindly sponsoring my app club. Any student at my school can come and learn how to design an app. This is so I can share my experiences with others. There's these programs called the iPad Pilot Program, and some districts have them. I'm fortunate enough to be part of one. A big challenge is
how should the iPads be used and what apps should we put on the iPads? So we're getting feedback from teachers at the school to see what kind of apps they'd like. When we design the app and we sell it, it will be free to local districts and other districts that we sell to. All the money from that will go into the local ed foundations. These days, students usually know a little bit more than teachers with the technology. So, sorry. So this is a resource to teachers, and educators should recognize this resource and make good use of it. I'd like to finish up by saying what I'd like to do in the future. First of all, I'd like to create more apps, more games. I'm working with a third-party company to make an app. I'd like to get into Android programming and development. And I'd like to continue my app club and find other ways for students to share knowledge with others. Thank you.
Wow, what a story of commitment. A 12-year-old who had a dream, he had an interest, he made a plan, he asked others to help, he put his plan into action, and did way more than he could have ever dreamed. What were his steps? He didn't just say, oh, I'd love to make an app, but it's too hard. He researched. He got the basics down of coding. You guys have done coding here. Then he bought an iPhone app kit when it came out, and it led him through playing and making test apps. That's what he did next. Then when he got his apps made, he talked to his parents, so he had help from them to pay the fee, the $99 fee, to get his apps on the App Store. But he didn't just stop there. That's success enough. But he had help from others, and inspiration, he said, from others, and started an app club at his school to help others design apps. So he took it to the next level. That is commitment. He not only met his goal, but he also committed to helping others that were interested in doing the same thing. And so I kind of did a little research to see, when this TED Talk came out, he was 12. Now he's 22. And he lives in California. He is a 22-year-old software and electronics engineer. And he makes $787,000 a year and still makes money from his 99-cent apps on the App Store as well. So guys, the sky's the limit. Anything that you can think of, you put commitment towards it, you can do it. Make a plan, put it into practice. I hope you got something from today, and I hope that you're already thinking about in your mind, looking at your paper, thinking about your goal, thinking about the steps to making and meeting your goal to be the best you that you can be. Love you guys. See you later.